Up next on Inside ChampCar, Watkins Glen Rewind. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. He's Bill Strong. I'm Brian Bielanski. This week on the show, we look back at the Sahlen's ChampYard dog at the Glen. We catch up with race winner Will Nonnamaker. And our tech tip will help you from wandering aimlessly. We'll do that in just a few minutes. But first, what a great weekend at Watkins Glen. I got a chance to peek in on the broadcast a little bit. You had a little bit of everything, Bill.
Yeah.
We
did not have snow. Well,
everything but snow.
Yes. We had rain.
Snow.
We had wind. We had wet track. We had oily track. We had parts on the track. We had clear track. We had everything on the track. It was a good weekend.
And it was at Watkins Glen. So, I mean,
yes.
One of the...
An iconic track. To save fuel, because gas right now is like, I think $1.50 a gallon out here on the East Coast. I say that for all the people out west.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's it's pretty high out here. And so instead of driving multiple diesel pickups and transporters up to ChampCar, that I ended up taking a small, my convertible. And we packed with what I could for the show. And while Jimmy towed the rest of my stuff in the ambulance that we use for our equipment vehicle. Right. And I was able to go around the track and set up all my gear.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. I may or may not have taken the curbing.
Oh, yeah. I bet you did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the ambulance?
No, in my Spider.
I wanted to see you take the curbing in the ambulance. That would be cool.
I do too. That would be fun. Yeah.
I consider Watkins Glen one of the big seven. Okay.
Oh,
and for me, the big seven is going from west to east. You've got Sonoma and you've got Laguna Seca.
I just learned that Visceral Racing, their favorite West Coast track is Sonoma.
Yeah.
I thought it would be Laguna Seca, but it's Sonoma.
Yeah. Both are great tracks for different reasons. And then you've got Road America, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Sebring, and Daytona.
And VIR.
Yeah, VIR, it's there, but I don't think VIR is at the level of those seven tracks. It would be if I were to go to a top 10, definitely VIR would probably be eight, definitely. It just there was that time when it shut down, and it doesn't have the great history of those other racetracks.
Right.
So,
that makes sense.
But I love VIR, and Mid Ohio would be on that list too if I were to take it out.
I do like Mid Ohio.
Yeah.
I didn't get enough track time there when I raced because we broke, but yes, I did really enjoy that track.
Yeah. Mid Ohio is amazing.
Yeah.
So, so
we're at Watkins Glen, mega track.
Yep.
We had 103 cars go through tech. We had made some changes. There have been some serious complaints about how long it takes to get through tech.
Right.
We had 75 cars that needed teching.
Wow.
So it was a lot. So one of the things that we did, it's a trade secret, but we did it and it worked. And people, we were done with tech by about 1:00. There were no more lines. So, and 5 hours, I think, to do 75 cars, pretty good.
Cool.
And then it started raining a little bit, and we had a test day. A couple of cars got damaged, which kind of sucked, but it happens.
Yep.
Those that didn't get damaged too much repaired their cars and were ready to race Saturday morning. And it started out dry at setup time, and during the driver's meeting, it started sprinkling. And then by race start, almost a full deluge. Yeah. A lot of rain.
Yeah.
And did not make it fun. We did not have the big one in turn one, which was kind of cool. Nice. Everybody went through there nice and easy.
Okay.
We didn't have a spin off in turn one until lap 3.
Okay.
And the guy got right back on and done.
Well, if you're the only one spinning off at turn one, there's that,
yes,
there's a lot of pavement for you to play with before you get to anything hard.
Yes. And it works out really well. So it was a great race. So many lead changes in this race. top 10, starting with 10, Red Cow Racing and their BMW, Rossmar and their Miata. There's no Z in Mazda, finished 8th. 7th was Simon Says, who I picked to win this race because they have in the past. They usually just kind of hung out until, an hour or two, and boom, there they are up in first. But they were there, top 15, and the 7th doom, 7th place.
There you go.
So Visceral Racing, their Porsche 944 RSR finished 5th. That's the #1 national championship car. Shut Up Racing finished 4th. Prefect Racing in their Lexus SC300 finished 3rd. And Visceral finished 2nd because they ran out of, 15 minutes before the end of the race. Well, we can let Ron talk about that real quick.
You want to do that right now?
Want to do that? Let's do that right now.
Right.
Team Sahlen's winning. Down here, Team Sahlen, the winner of today's Sahlen 7-hour on Saturday. Wayne, how did you get him, man?
Oh, it was a challenging race. There's so many factors. It's such a great series. 100+ cars in this race. I think this is one of the biggest fields we've ever raced in. So amazing. The Sahlen's ChampYard dog was just a really dogfight. So it was fun. But though at the end, I think they had some problem. I think they tried to go a little bit long on fuel or something, and we just got them at the end. But exciting race and so many different types of cars up front. It really a testament to the ChampCar series.
Yeah, I left the tower about 20 minutes to go, maybe 15 minutes to go, and they had the lead in hand, and then boom, I get up to the top, and they're waving their checker at you.
It was exciting for sure. So I didn't know that we had enough. When we had that yellow there with about 20 minutes to go, I'm calculating 7-8 laps. There's 15 cars in between us. I don't know if there's enough time, but there was. And Will and I were talking the other day. This is amazing that there are more cars in this race than there are in the 3 races over in Monaco, Indianapolis, and Charlotte. So how cool is that there's more cars in this race than all 3 of those combined? So
that is really cool. What are you guys going to do different tomorrow? Anything to secure tomorrow's race?
I think we're going to have a really good strong lineup again. We'll start a lap down with this car, but Ketchup will have a strong run for sure, I'm sure. So they had a little glitch that they got figured out at the end, and I think it's going to be a good race for Sahlen's tomorrow.
Cool. All right, congratulations. The winner, the Sahlen's ChampYard dog at the Glen, Saturday.
Sounds good. See you then. Thanks, Bill.
Down here with 918 Visceral Ron, #1 national champion of the world in ChampCar. Ran out of fuel, man.
Yeah, we knew we were taking a big gamble, but we knew that's what we were going to have to do to keep up and beat the boxers. We knew we couldn't drive as fast as they could this year. Last year we did. We were faster than last year, but my fast driver wasn't here this year. But we knew we were going to have to gamble a little bit with the fuel, and we took the gamble. It's okay. 2nd place is perfectly fine with me. We did great. Both cars are still here. They're both kind of running. We ran out of fuel, so we put some fuel in it. Now it's running, but and we didn't crash them. So it was a good day.
So epic rebuild for the cars, and but yeah, I went upstairs and you had this race secured. I come back, I go up to take pictures, and it's like, oh wow, they're behind the pace car. Now, could you have used another yellow to kind of save fuel, maybe?
Yeah, another yellow definitely would have been nice, or a little. We thought we might have had that extension when I think it was charcoal went off and then went into the wall. So we thought that one might have been a reposition the wall, so it was going to be a longer one. But Watkins Glen was very efficient and got us back out on track pretty quick. So we knew for the last 15 to 20 minutes the surge tank light's been on, and we would just like put it in 5th gear and just put it around the track. There's nothing else we can do. Yeah. So, and he died on the cool down lap at turn 1.
Oh wow!
And we had to have it towed back. So, yeah. But again, it's still a great day. We're very happy with the 2nd place. I'm not complaining about that at all.
All right, man. Congratulations, 2nd place here at ChampYard Dog of the Glen.
Thanks, Ben. I'm sorry, Bill.
Bill, Ben, whatever.
There you go. At the end of the race, I'm happy that I'm still standing and they can call me anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that sounded like it was fun. And that's part of the game with endurance racing is you know where your strengths are and you know where your competition strengths are, and you make a calculated decision, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
In the early days with Ron, he would get so riled up when he lost a race like that, and I think he knows now that once he puts everything in it, and as long as he finishes and they don't do anything stupid with the car, they can do quite well. And second, in this field, that was really, really good. So,
well, and second, and I mean, I've been doing this now with you for half a year almost. Gosh, it's been started almost half a year.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And, exactly. But I mean, I look at all of the races, and second place in any of these races is nothing to sneeze at. These are
finishing in the top 10 is a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's, so we go on to Sunday. Day starts out much better. We could see the sky. I didn't like it because that sun was really, really bright.
Of course. It
made the tower extremely hot. Of course, they only have like 2 little AC units up there, and they're working full blast. And
wow.
But yeah, I know. But yeah, it was warm, dry, and people were ready to race, and there were some fast times put down.
Yeah.
So the top 10 started out with MBM Motor Performance, Bear Maximums BMW, 8th place with Haywood Racing. Simon Says, again, 7th place, 2 7s in a row. Rossmar Racing in their 99 Mazda. They brought a whole bunch of cars out that weekend. In 5th place was the Soggy Bottom Boys and their Nissan 350Z. 4th was Sparrow Speed. 3rd was 901 Motorsports. And 2nd was There's No Z in Mazda. And then Team Sahlen in the ketchup car winning it. But, that was a race that Vissel Racing had a wrap on it up until the night. I think it was the 918 or the number 1 car. I think it was. Yeah. The number 1 car lost an engine going into 5 and left a nice strip of oil on the ground, which also took out their brand new Boxster that they've built. And that crashed as well. So yeah, it wasn't pretty. And after Sahlen's takes over the lead, he now is fighting with the Prefect Racing SC300, who then has an issue. And I can't remember. I wasn't in the tower, but they either crashed out or something broke on the car. Okay. And then they found themselves alone up there. Yeah. And all they had to do was make laps and win it. But it was a pretty wild weekend, and we say crazy. Not only did Sahlen's win that race with how do you call that, at the expense of other teams, but There's No Z in Mazda was only 9.8 seconds behind the Team Sahlen car.
Yeah, that was not a given,
not a blowout. Not a blowout. Yeah. Now in this interview, I accidentally said a word you should never use. I use the word fatalities, and I use the word fatalities towards the cars.
Okay, good.
Not as in anything else, and I'm sorry about that. My choice of words sometimes is under stress or duress or, extreme fatigue is not always the best.
All right, well, we've got that out of the way, so no offense will be taken. Cars were sacrificed in this race, and we will find out a little bit more about that right now.
And here was Sunday's winner of the Sahlen's ChampYard Dog at the Glen with the 942 and Will Nonnamaker. That was a heck of a race because there were so many fatalities today.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We had a large field of 110, so that just really says a lot about everybody loving ChampCar. It's just awesome. But yeah, there was a lot of fatalities, unfortunate, but I thought it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day for weather, so I just couldn't ask for anything better to win here at the Sahlen's ChampYard Dog at the Glen.
Now, when we say fatalities, we mean cars that didn't last, nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, we had some of them yesterday. Our charcoal, it's been around since 2011. It died its death yesterday, which is unfortunate, but that we're out here, we're going to have incidents just like anybody else, but we were very fortunate this weekend to be able to make it out on top both days.
Now, yesterday's winner didn't do too well today.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened, but like I said, that's why it's nice to have 2 cars. So,
right. So who was driving today?
So in my car with me was Joe Sahlen. He did a fantastic job. He did a great job of getting us back to the front a couple times. So, and then my dad and my brother Wayne and Joe were over in the other car, and I think we were running first and second there for a while. So, yeah, like I said, it's really good competition here.
So you guys have won a lot here. I mean, what's the secret to this track?
Consistency. It's knowing and it's knowing the track real well. You know, there's walls really close.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why you said there's a lot of fatalities. The problem with this track is, or the good thing there's walls so that you can go flying into the woods, right? But if you don't know this track, you're hitting a wall real quick. So the secret to the track is knowing it, but knowing it very well so that you don't get yourself into trouble. But yeah.
Cool. And you guys had enough fuel today?
We did, yeah. So there's plenty of yellows, unfortunately, but yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, congratulations. Right. Double winner here at the Sahlen's ChampYard Dog at the Glen.
All right, thanks you, Bill.
All right, what a great. So the funny, and I love the team names in ChampCar, and I always play on this, but one car was Dijon, another one was ketchup, another one was mustard, playing off on the hot dog stuff. But I got to tell you, if you're driving a Porsche and you're talking about a hot dog and you don't name one of them sauerkraut, you really have lost an opportunity there.
You're right. You're right.
You really passed on an opportunity, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Will about that. I can see that
as an HR moment for me when I, Monday morning, Bill Strong into the office. That would be fun. Yeah, and they have charcoal and lighter fluid and I don't know. They have all kinds of names.
All very apropos, but one of those Porsches, one of those German cars really should be named sauerkraut. I'm just saying.
No, what they do is they bring a Lexus out or something and call it
sauerkraut. I love it.
Because they used to run the RX-7 as well. Yeah. They were famous for the Mazda stuff. A lot of Mazdas over the years.
All right. Well, sounds like it was a great weekend. You know, and
can't wait to go back. Actually, it's we're going back next year. We've got a preliminary date in hand, and it's back on.
You know what I like about ChampCar, among many things, is that you guys don't always go back to the same tracks. You pick up some new ones here, take a couple off every year. So when you do go to a Watkins Glen, let's say, it's a special thing because you might not be there next year. And
never know.
And yeah, but it is. So no, I'm not starting a rumor. I don't want to get a phone call from Dana. What are you talking about? No, but I'm just saying.
This just in: Inside ChampCar predicts the end.
No. I didn't do that. But it's cool though that you guys really enjoy trying out a new track and going to a place like Ozarks because it's brand new or whatever the case may be. And you don't get to do that with a lot of other series. So pretty good stuff. All right, is it time for that moment where we get to play that really cool music?
I believe it is.
All right.
Hit it.
All right, I love this week's tech tip because it's the simplest thing in the world, but until you've been through it, you would never think about it.
So, I think we've talked about this before.
I don't know.
I know I've talked about it on our show, on the other shows. We talked about it on the web. But I'm sitting up 2,000 feet up in the Watkins Glen Tower, looking down on the world as I do. And I'm watching people just aimlessly driving through the paddock or the garages or even the pit lanes, lost because they don't know where their quote pit lane is, quote garage space is, quote paddock space is. They don't know. So
if
what do you do?
It's not on the Waze, I can't get there either.
I know. Well, there's a lot of folks. If Google didn't say turn left here, turn right there, they're lost.
That's me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of folks. I still don't. Yeah, it was just I swear it was just a few years ago. We were using MapQuest, printing out MapQuest to get places.
Yep.
And when the New Jersey Turnpike says no pickup trucks with trailers allowed on the Turnpike.
Parkway.
That's
Parkway. It's the Parkway.
That your MapQuest says stay on the Parkway. I'm not getting off.
Nope.
There's no way in hell.
Nope.
So, so what do? You don't have Google in your cars.
Yeah.
You take a piece of tape, any tape. Gaffer's tape is the best because it doesn't leave residue. And you put it on your dash and you write pit 27. Now, sometimes the pit lane that we mark may be different from what's written on the wall.
Right.
So you put in your pit number 26, but the wall says 16. Put wall 16 so that you know where to go.
Yep.
You can see it, or you can see it on the ground. And usually the tow truck guy will know, oh, I know where 26 is.
Right.
Take you right there. Where's your garage? Card, blue 16 or 27 or whatever. And the same with your paddock space, where left corner, north corner or something like that, or, wherever. But it makes it easy for everybody.
Right.
I know where my stuff is because I've been working on this race for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Or in some teams' case, yesterday.
Yep.
And the race was this weekend.
Yep.
So, it makes it easy for everybody. You are not wasting a lot of time. You have 5 minutes in pit lane. That's a long time. So, except when you have a pit lane that's a mile long, like Watkins Glen.
Do you all have? Do they put up easy ups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and flags. We have signs. Yep.
I used to put a Polish flag on my easy up.
Yeah.
And a Polish flag at my pit spot.
Yeah.
And tell the tow truck guy, kind of in general vicinity where you got to go and look for the Polish flag.
So Ron,
and then they'd say, "What's the Polish flag?" And I'd say, "The red and white one."
Yeah, because nobody knows. Wait, can you point out Poland on a map?
I can.
Yes, I can too. Now, Visceral Racing has their big Porsche flag up.
Yeah.
Big corporate Porsche feather flag. Things like that really help. But,
absolutely.
When you're trying to tell the tow truck driver, pit lane 16, he'll take you right there.
There you go.
And but when you're also going down pit lane, you're not starting and stopping and trying to look, because there's a lot of confusion on pit lane.
Of course.
Especially when there's a lot of other cars on pit lane too.
Yep.
And we did have a scene that was really funny. About 22 cars all tried to leave pit lane at the same time. They all came in at the same time. They all left at the same time. So of course we stopped the cars at pit out and we inspect, make sure the guys all have their belts on right. And,
that's brutal.
Their timers
the 17th car in that queue.
Yeah, you're sitting there going, "Let me out!"
So do you stop every car at the end of pit lane to check?
Yep, they have to come to a complete stop. That's just like when they come in, a complete stop, put the timer on. Or even when we do the go to the electronic system that we're moving to, you're still going to have to come to a complete stop. It's safe.
Yeah. No, I get it. But man, if you're the 23rd
stop,
car in that queue,
yeah, they're talking. I don't know, on the forum they're talking about adding time on for tire changes and that. And I brought that up today. 22 cars. What are we going to do? How are you going to do that? Are you going to put the time on at the end when I come up to you and the screaming cars are flying by and there's a lot going on and you're just trying to get me out of the pit lane, but I'm telling you, I got tires too. And how many tires did I put on? Well, I put 3 tires on. Now I've got to figure out, well, it's two minutes for 3 tires. So that's what, 6. So, 5 or 4, how many minutes do I keep? Oh, and when do I start that clock? Do I start it from the time that, you've been waiting in line here with 20 cars behind you? Your clock's at 0. What does that mean? Do I add on? Do I keep you here even further, longer? So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered if they're going to do something like that. And a lot of these rules in the past have been done without the thought of how we're going to actually implement it on pit lane with our technology. So hopefully we have a good set of board members now. They'll figure this out and, over the initial ideas and figure something out to do whatever they want to accomplish.
There you go. All right. Good weekend at the Glen. Good tech tip, help yourself. And you can lose a lot of time if you're going back to your paddock or you lose your pit. I mean, it's all time. And in the end, when you've got a team like the second place car here on Sunday who lost by 9.819 seconds.
And he was probably in that line for 14 seconds.
I mean, honest to God, though, that's a big part of it. Yeah, so, every second counts, and we prove that week after week when we look at these results. So,
the other part of that is not only put an extra radio in your car or a handheld, so that if you do get towed back, you can at least be calling and talking to your team, letting them know what you think is a problem with the car. Because a lot of times they'll take you out of the car, put you in the tow truck, or the ambulance, and so you can do a quick walk around. Say, hey, the right front wheel's missing. We need a whole suspension. So you guys get it ready at the trailer. We're going to the trailer. And of course, they have to run to the
Sure.
trailer now and do stuff. But when you get the tow truck there and you're down on the ground, you're not standing there waiting for the guys to show up because they may not even know you're broken.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. Another fantastic tech tip brought to you by Bill Strong.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. We're going to head out here. When we come back, a great conversation with Will Nonnamaker about their participation in ChampCar and about why they like participating after all of the big time racing they've done, why they enjoy ChampCar. It was fun. He's a good guy.
Yep. Off the chain, man. The stories he was telling. Oh my goodness. You guys, it's insane.
We're going to do that when we come back. This is Inside ChampCar on the Racing Wire Podcast Network.
Every race weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. But with ChampCar.live, all the action comes right into your living room. The ChampCar Endurance Series is North America's home to real competitive endurance road racing. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car, trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car and trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. Check out ChampCar.live on the web, subscribe, and ring the bell so as not to miss a single minute of the action. It's fun, free, informative, and it's just a click away. ChampCar.live. Come check us out. We bring you a front row seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Welcome back to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He is
Bill Strong.
And we are here talking about the big race this weekend at Watkins, Glen, the Sahlen's ChampYard Dog at the Glen.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. Joining us now is one of the drivers from Team Sahlen's Porsche, Will Nonnamaker. Will, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So we'll get to the weekend in a second. But I always like to start these things off with kind of a little background for, the four people out there who might not know who you are. And so how did you get mixed up with this racing thing that we do in the first place?
Well, like a lot of people like Polly, I got started with my dad racing.
Yeah.
So started out, my dad's first race car was a Ford Pinto of all cars. This is back when, you didn't have car seats. We had a roll cage in that Ford Pinto, and that was our street car. And I'd crawl around the roll cage. We'd take family vacations at Ford Pinto, and then we'd take it to the racetrack, And
Oh, that's awesome.
That's just how you did it back then. You didn't have, and then finally my dad, we used to race, lived over in Western Ohio in Bowling Green and Pontiac, Michigan. And my dad's first races was Waterford Hills. And he rolled the car because he was running steel wheels. Well, steel wheels don't work too well. They're about the size of space savers back then. And he rolled the car. And, what do you do when you have no choice? He took a jacked the roof back up, put the visor down on his car, on his helmet. And he drove back from Waterford Hills, Michigan to Bowling Green, Ohio, with no windshield, and my mom and I riding shotgun in somebody else's car home because that's how we got home. That's how we went racing, because if you want to go racing bad enough, I say this to anybody who's getting into ChampCar, if you want to do it bad enough, you'll find a way.
So we still get people showing up at the track, taking their windows out at the track, putting, they had their race tires in the back of the car. They had their regular tires, and they just put it all on there, take the hatch off the car or whatever, and they go racing. And then after the race, they put everything back on and go home in the car. No trailer, no support cars, just that.
So that Pinto, was that an ITC Pinto? Was that a production car?
That was a showroom stock. It was showroom stock C, I believe, at the time.
Okay.
So way back then. And I mean, it was a long time ago. I mean, he raced against Ford Gremlins and Pacers. He actually raced against Eric Prill's dad, who is the president of SCCA now, and he was known as Racer Pacer back then. Eric Prill's dad was. So It's just kind of funny how the world's so small like that. My dad races against Eric Prill's dad. I go to college at Miami of Ohio, and there's Eric Prill, 20 years later racing and here I am at school with him. So it's just funny how the world is like that.
We were racing Honda Civics and IT, and they put the Pinto in the ITC with us. And it used to make us really mad when we would lose to the Pinto, because it just should not be fast, but it was good, with the right guy behind the wheel.
One of the coolest things I saw was back in the about 2004, 2005 at Summit Point, the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series, the Mars Series, actually had the Spec Pinto running, and there was I want to say there was 20-25 cars running. It was still big then.
Yeah.
And great little car to race, actually.
Well, and that 2.0 Ford would just go forever. I mean, the motor was just, you could just race it and race it and race it, and it would never die.
The 2-liter overhead cam was it's a worldwide following. I mean, it was used in everything from the the Cosworth Escorts all the way up to the Ford Sierra Cosworths. I mean, everything.
So fast forward to recent times. You have a pretty strong background in endurance racing before ChampCar. Tell us a little bit about that and Team Sahlen's and what they did before they started joining the ChampCar groups.
Yeah, so fast forward, you get to the early 80s, and what started all of this, what we're here and why we are talking right now is because of the Nelson Ledges 24 hours that occurred. And my dad had the great honor of getting to run in those first 2 or 3 of those events. So, I mean, that is why we're all here, because that's what started showroom stock production racing. I would call it the endurance racing for the people. You had the pro racing at the time, the Camel GT, which, we eventually evolved into with Rolex. But, the reason we're all here is because of that. And that's what our team has always done. We've always done endurance production racing, and, from the Escort Series, Playboy Series, Firestone Firehawk, Motorola Cup, Continental, we evolved into Rolex. I mean, that was the peak of our height of our racing. And, I'll always cherish those moments. But, for us, this ChampCar is the heart and soul of what this is all about to us. I mean, we love this series. We've run it since 2011. So, that's what we love, and that's what our team's about. You asked about Sahlen's. We got together in 2005. So Joe Sahlen and his family, we partnered together that year. And what is now 17 years later? I mean, that just is kind of unheard of in racing for teams to be around that long, let alone for 2 groups to be partnered together for that long. And I think it's been great. We've been able to sponsor several events at Watkins, Glen, which, as Bill said, 100 cars at the Sahlen's ChampYard Dog at the Glen. I mean, that's got to be one of the most mega events in ChampCar. It's not maybe the biggest, but it's got to be one of the best, I think.
It's close. I mean, it goes back and forth between Daytona and Watkins Glen and Indianapolis. So it's a big event for us. Yeah. Now, you guys, you talked about Nelson Ledges. We have the longest day coming up. You guys have a good history with the longest day of Nelson.
Yeah, we've been able to run it probably 15 times, and we've won the class several times. And the last time we ran it, we won it overall. So, that's one of those things where everybody has a bucket list, and maybe it's weird, but my bucket list is Nelson Ledges. I mean, a couple years ago, Grassroots Motorsports asked pro drivers what's their favorite track, and I don't know why they chose me as one of the drivers they asked, because I don't.
I remember that.
But there was all these drivers. Randy Poops is choosing. I think Sebring. Charles Essenlove's choosing something, and here I am saying Nelson Ledges, and I wasn't fibbing on that. That is because to me, that's what it's all about—the heart and soul of what we're here for.
Well, and
your dad got out of the car it was your dad that got out of the car, and he was it was like a little kid just won his first race. He was so excited about winning Nelson Ledges. Or did he get out of the car? No, that was Joe Sahlen that got out of the car, but it was your dad was there, and he was just like a big kid. It was funny. It's kind of cool.
Well, and back when you did the 24 hours the first time, that racetrack was not the most smooth racetrack in the world.
No. So, when Will and I ran it, I think it was like the last time we ran it was 2012. I think it was. We did the 24 hour there, but it's that's the one you guys run the RX-7s, and you finished right ahead of me at 6 with that really loud exhaust system, as I was really mad at you guys because we had a sound limit and nobody would enforce it. And I'm screaming and yelling, get him for sound. And then you guys were on the back straight. We were right beside you, and all of a sudden that RX-7 got a turbo power. It was pretty wild watching you pull away from me. But I guess you guys were just tired of playing with me. But it was a fun race. And you not only were we racing the track in the darkness and, sound, but parts of the track were flying up. It was pretty wild.
Good
then,
stuff.
of course, they fix it. We all come back, and it's so fast now.
So what's your attraction of coming to ChampCar? Because, you've raced at the top levels of motorsports all over the world. And now, you guys come out and you come to the ChampCar races, and you're not the first person we've talked to with a significant pro racing background who's now playing with ChampCar. So what's the attraction for you to come to the ChampCar Endurance Series?
I think that the people, not only the racers, which we find them all to be very friendly and welcoming, and we think that the organizers of the series do a great job. Not to blow smoke, but Dana and Bill Strong and the whole team do a fantastic job. We've run in a lot of different series, and we still do run in other series, and not that they're not good, but we really love this series. It's a good rules package. The point system is ingenious, and we love the fact that there's a point system there, that it's very equitable rules. And I just love, I was sitting on the pit wall at the last race, and I was just watching the cars go by, and I can almost squint and close my eyes and remember back to the Firestone Firehawk days when I'm watching this, because I love there's such an eclectic version of cars. Yes, we have a Porsche. Yes, there's people with BMWs and Miatas, but I really love when you sit there and you see somebody with a Nissan 300Z or a Honda CRX, or even our bank when they bring out their Saab. Isn't that cool? That is the coolest thing, to see this eclectic version of cars. And I don't know, to me, I cherish that.
So, you've got the Porsche. You came out to Watkins Glen this weekend, and obviously that's a big race for Team Sahlen's because that's their backyard. And what's it mean for that relationship to go to Watkins Glen and to run well for you guys?
Well, we've went there before and not had success, so I know what that feels like. You don't want to go there and you don't want to go there and have failure, right? That's the thing. You're not going to dominate. We didn't dominate even this weekend. There was nip and tuck back and forth, but you go there and you're putting all your eggs out there. We're putting everything we can. We even brought a spare car to test on Friday just to be ready, right? We went and tested at the drag strip on the Monday before the race. Just doing those little things to be prepared. I think I drove the iRacing game before this event probably 10 hours, and that's on top of the fact that I had just been to Watkins Glen for some other series, 4 weeks before. But you're right. We're there to win because it's the Sahlen's. You put your name on the front of the shirt, you better be ready to go, right, Bill?
Yep, that's right. Well, I don't know, because we've only won one race. You guys have won a few more than us. But now to Saturday's race, you did not have that in the bag until the very end. I think that Ron had it up on you guys, but he miscalculated his fuel. I think he came in just a wee bit too early during a yellow and got fuel and just basically ran out of gas towards the end there. Do you guys sit there and plan this kind of stuff, your strategies, or is it something that you're looking at, how much are they using? You kind of know what our what your competitors are doing fuel wise. Do you look at that kind of stuff?
Oh, for sure. Every track's different too. There's different lengths of pace laps. There's different lengths of everything. So the strategy changes from track to track. And you mentioned Visceral. There's a reason they're the national champions. You're going to go out there and have the national champions. You got your work cut out for you. Same way, when Our-Bank was the champion the year before that, and RVA Graphics. When those cars show up, you've got your work cut out to beat them.
And Sunday, Visceral again up front. You guys were chasing them down, but they were holding you off until the lead car blew an engine. And then I guess the second place car, maybe he was the third place car, spun out with the visceral car the other visceral car spun out in his teammate's oil and crashed. So, and that put you guys in the lead. But you had the SC300 right on your tail too, because that was back and forth for a little bit.
Yeah, those Lexuses are super tough. I think it's a great platform for the series, and so is the Porsche 944. So you're right that we had competition the whole day. It was tough.
So, you and your brother race. Who's faster?
Oh, Wayne's faster by far. I don't hold any ego on that. I mean, when he's the last one ever in the Rolex series to win a race solo. After he did that twice in 1 year, they outlawed that rule.
Oh, wow.
So he held off Andy Lawley, and he's no slouch of a driver, JF Dumoulin. So, I mean, Wayne is the real deal. When people say, wow, I think, what do we call him on the ChampCar Live by AutoZone, the one-arm bandit?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason he's the one-arm bandit. I mean, I hold no qualm to that fact. He's, like I said, he's the real deal. He's qualified on the pole in Rolex races, won races solo there. So He is the real deal.
All right. Now going back against you and your father, I mean, in his prime, who would have been the top?
Oh, I don't know about that. It's hard to say with the age gap. I do say it's really amazing how great Joe Sahlen and Joe Nonnamaker drive. They're both, they've both been doing this for a long time. This is my dad's 50th year of racing.
Yeah.
So if you want to figure out that he did this while he was getting out of college at 20, you can figure out that he's no spring chicken, and he's out there driving the full 2 hours and holding his own. So, I mean, that's very impressive.
And Joe Sahlen the same way. I mean, he is a quick driver.
He is. And he's like Paul Newman, where he didn't get started right away. My dad was 20. Joe didn't start racing until he joined with us. Up until then, he was doing chin track days, which, so it's like I said, it's great. And, it's great to see people of all levels out there. You've got people who've been racing forever, like Kohler and Smith, who are in the EC car at the Glen. I mean, those guys were formerly known as the Zippo team. Yep. If you remember the Zippo cars from the 80s and 90s. So there they are racing. There's Brett Shanneman out there racing, him and his dad used to run the old Ninja Turtle cars.
Yep.
But then you see people, it's their first race ever. I mean, that's what's great about ChampCar. I love it.
So I'm going to turn the table here, and Bill didn't even know I was going to do this, because I'm just sitting here, but on a serious note, you guys, Team Sahlen, and I don't know if you can speak for Joe, but I think you probably have a good idea. What is the attraction for Sahlen to get involved with ChampCar in a big way on a sponsor standpoint? What is the benefit? Because I know that all race series out there, it's a struggle to find sponsors for races and all that kind of stuff. There must be value that they're getting from ChampCar. And what is the value that you guys see from a business standpoint to become the title sponsor of this race at Watkins Glen?
Well, first, any involvement in motorsports has to come down to a passion. And Joe Sahlen has a passion for motorsports. I had sent Bill a picture here recently of Joe Sahlen and his wife Anita camping in their van at Watkins Glen in the 1970s at a Formula One race. So, that's a pretty big passion to be, camping out in a van. But what Sahlen's gets out of this from a business standpoint is obviously, we're at Watkins Glen, we're sponsoring a race right near where Sahlen's is located and where their products are distributed. The other part that we really do is we work hard to leverage social media. Again, Watkins Glen, Sahlen, 6 hours of the Glen with IMSA, that's different. You've got a crowd there, you got 50,000 people, you got TV. So there's the benefit there from a business standpoint. But when you look at it from a ChampCar standpoint, we work really hard to leverage that exposure. An example of that is we did a video last year, endurance. It's called Endurance Sports Car, the ChampCar Way, and we put this cool video together with ECS Tuning, and we have over 30,000 people who've seen that video now.
Right.
So again, that's how you, in our opinion, you leverage it to get the maximum for the business standpoint.
And Bill, I'm going to ask you the same question. How important is it for ChampCar to partner with great businesses like Sahlen's to do these types of races. And I'm saying that because I'm sure that there'll be maybe someone out there listening who might say, maybe this is something that my business wants to be part of. And so what's the relationship, or how important it is for ChampCar to have those relationships? Yeah,
the relationship with Sahlen's and the Nonnamakers has been here for a long time with ChampCar, and it's hopefully it'll stay with us for an even longer time. But it's really important to us. It helps the racers love the ChampYard dog at the Glen. They love the hot dogs. We up until COVID, the Sahlen's folks would bring a ton of hot dogs. We get a free lunch on Friday, and they were really good because a lot of us down south don't get the Sahlen's stuff, and it's a big, the hot dogs are really good. I'm not a hot dog connoisseur, but I do like my hot dogs, and but yeah, really, we miss that, and hopefully we'll bring that back. Yeah. Soon, within a year or so.
But being a Chicago boy, I know my hot dogs. And
oh yeah,
Sahlen's hot dogs are pretty good hot dogs.
Yes, they are.
But now on the flip side, ChampCar is it's amateur racing.
Yeah.
And then you've got, these guys who are, like you said, drive up with their wheels in the back of their car. And sometimes, you pull into the paddock and you see, the Team Sahlen's transporter and all of the stuff that you guys come along. And, what's your thought on bringing that big operation in to what's an amateur type series and that kind of, the thought process?
Well, first off, I know we commonly refer to this as amateur racing, but I like to call it sportsman racing because to me, it's a little bit of different connotation, because sportsman just means to me it's just one step below pro. And that's what I think this series has become, American Endurance Racing has become, and World Racing League. So I take those three, I won't mention the fourth one out west, but those three plus maybe the one out west, that's what we've evolved into, is sportsman level racing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is also beautiful, and what you mentioned, is the rigs and the support equipment. Well, what you see with us is what I've had for the last 20 years. So once I own it, I might as well use it. But if you look around at the people who are competitive, like, excuse me for not remembering the exact name of the team, but the team that finished second in the Miata at the Glen.
Oh, yeah.
Their car is not fancy stickered, but they obviously did a very good job of prepping that car. I don't think they had a fancy rig. And there's an amazing example that it doesn't matter. We are all competing on the same level. And that's what I think is great about this series. And I think we could probably show up in an open trailer and probably do the same thing. May not be the same show, but it'll be the same performance on track. So to me, that's what's beautiful about this. We all can just show up, and once the green flag drops, what do they say? The BS stops. And that's really what it's about, I think, and that's the way we look at it.
Well, there was in the early days of ChampCar, actually the first 24-hour we had on the East Coast, Tony Stewart shows up with his rig, and, most everybody's there with open trailers, a couple of U-Haul trucks that they actually put 2x4s out and took them like 12-foot back so they could roll the car back. That was a show unto itself. But, some people were like, oh, Tony Stewart's here. But we beat him. A lot of people beat him. And it was fun. And that kind of got me going, who else am I going to race? And we've beat you guys, the Nonnamakers and, Sahlen's. And a lot of other people have as well. But you've also had your day.
Right. I always enjoyed racing against people who were at a different level than I was.
Yeah. Yes.
It allowed me to measure myself and my preparedness, and it was a great test. And then I would watch and study what they would do and learn from that, and then come out better next weekend. So I think it's great. So pretty cool stuff. So.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me, is making, looking at how Sahlen's and Riley and other top teams, IMSA teams at one point or currently do stuff, and how they attack problems was always something that I watched. And then we could try to emulate that and learn from it. And it helped us become better.
Right.
I thought.
Right. All right. So any particular moments from this past weekend that stick out in your head and your run to the top slot this last weekend?
You know, it's always fun driving in the rain. And when you add 100 cars to the track, there was times, and this is true, like when you're at Sebring, you don't see anything. You know, it's crazy. I mean, 2 years ago at Sebring, it was raining. Remember, Bill remembers that race when the Nissan won. We were hydroplaning at 120 miles an hour down the back straightaway. I couldn't see more than 10 feet in front of me, and there was guys on, especially on the right, that were going 50 miles an hour slower. I mean, you just go, what the heck? I'm like, you know, at a certain point in time, you just have to say, am I insane, right? Like, and that was happening at this race. At one point in time, I was in the bus stop in the purple RX, I call him the purple people eater, RX-7, and he was spun sideways. I did not see him until I went by his door. Like, I have no idea I didn't hit him. So to me, those are the kind of things that you just go, oh my God, what am I doing out here? I'm insane.
Well, that brings up a good question. So at your level of racing, do you see yourself taking more risk than, let's say, some guy that works a 9 to 5 and comes out here on the weekend to race?
I think the difference is with having raced for 30 years, your knowledge of how to place to put the car is the difference. And I think that's the part that, you know, that makes a difference for us. A lot of times people look at our pace and say, wow, look at their pace. Well, when you've been racing for 30 years, especially in endurance racing, you just know where to place the car here. You see the pass happening before it ever gets there. You say, those two guys ahead are going to do this, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I think that's probably the difference that I think I see. And so I don't know if I'm taking more risks. I'm just doing something that maybe they wouldn't normally see.
Right.
Is it even not even more risk, but more patience, because you understand the way the race is going to unfold, and maybe making that move at that moment rather than maybe waiting a half a lap to do it later? You've got the patience because you've got that experience.
I like to think that way sometimes. Like anybody, I get red mist just as much as anybody. I mean, it was about 2 years ago at Pittsburgh, and I tried to split two cars, and that is the worst thing you can do in this series. And I think Paulie replayed that video a couple times, and that keeps you humble. Because, I mean, I'm like, here I am doing something stupid after all these years. You know, we all get red mist. We've all been there, and no one's immune to it, right? And we all make mistakes. Scott Dixon probably is right now kicking himself for speeding on pit. I mean, we all, now I'm called, well, it probably was red mist, right? I mean, he was ready to go. He had the hammer. He was going to win his Indy 500 again, and he made a mistake. It happens to everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of pit lane speeds, I think you guys are only doing about 15 miles an hour this weekend down pit lane.
Well, there's no need to with 5-minute pit stops, right? I think that's
that's right.
Wonderful about this series. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about shortening those pit stops. Let me tell you that I don't know if that's ever a good idea. I mean, American Endurance Racing does 3-minute pit stops, and we make it, but there's a lot of teams in that series who can't make it.
Right.
And if you look at World Racing League, they have no pit stop time. And I'm telling you, when you step up to that, you're playing with the big boys, because that pit stop now is a big crucial part of your race. Where here, what happens with the 5 minutes? It takes that completely out of the loop. You are not in a position where you have to have more than you and your other two co-drivers to get it done, and you're not at a disadvantage to a team like Visceral, R-Bank, or Sahlen's.
Right. What's next on the agenda for Team Sahlen's, both in ChampCar and outside of ChampCar?
Well, we'll see how Nelson Ledges pans out. I mean, hopefully it gets some more entries. We'd like to run that race. That's our goal. And then, of course, coming into the fall, we're excited to come back to Mid-Ohio and race there again, and Pittsburgh again. Those are two great tracks close for us. And then we'll probably do a couple more American endurance races because they're close to us as well, which is, again, what's beautiful about this. After having done pro racing for so long, and Brian, you can appreciate all that travel that, you know, Barber or Sebring or an event like that is 16 hours of travel time.
Yeah.
Down and 16 hours back. And that's why when people ask, why don't you go to Ozarks? I'm like, I did that for 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I can do Nelson Ledges, Pittsburgh, Watkins, Glen, Mid-Ohio, and all of them are within 3 hours of, you know, I'm home by 8 o'clock at night. And that's us. That's the beauty of this. You know, you ask about what we love about it. It's so relaxed. It's so much fun, great camaraderie, and I can be home. I'm not traveling over God's green earth to do this.
Well, you have a day job too, right?
We do. So yes, Sahlen is a meat packing company, but our family does Subway restaurants, and
Okay.
you know, that's our business. So when we come home, you know, I'm working on Memorial Day yesterday just to be ready to catch back up on the work I was off on Friday.
Wow. So you're just like the rest of us. Just you
Yeah.
drive really nice race cars.
So, so the eye candy of Team Sahlen, is that Billy Sahlen?
He is, yes. That has been the statement around the paddock for years.
Yes. I had to bring Billy in this somehow, you know.
Of course.
Good guy. He helps us a lot on our ChampCar Live broadcast, feeding us all kinds of secret information from the Sahlen's team, you know, the behind-the-scenes stuff. I don't know if it's secret or not, but good kid.
Yeah, he knows a lot, and I know even when he's not at the races, he's always chatting. He loves this series beyond anything.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, Bill, anything else you want to touch on before we head out of here?
No, that's it. Thank you for racing with us again this weekend and taking all our hardware home. Didn't have to take it home myself.
Well,
The best trophies in racing. That's the last thing I want to say.
Yeah.
You know, of all our years of racing and pro racing, these trophies are the best end of statement. In fact, Joe Sahlen takes the trophies and he takes them to his office and he puts them in the corporate boardroom. So just imagine that.
Awesome.
That's how much, you know, just for all of us, that means he's got those sitting in the corporate boardroom at Sahlen's Packing. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. You know, that's what it means to him. It's the same way it means to everybody else.
Yeah.
We got to get some pictures of that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having us on.
All right, that's Will Nonnamaker from Team Sahlen's the Porsche driver, winners of the races this weekend at Watkins Glen. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming races that are on the agenda at both Autobahn and out here at Willow Springs. We'll do that next on Inside ChampCar.
Inside ChampCar is a podcast that takes a deep dive into all things going on with the ChampCar Endurance Series. Hosted by veteran journalist, radio host, and racer Brian Bielanski and ChampCar's very own Bill Strong, we talk to drivers, team bosses, tech gurus, and series supporters. Episodes air every week in time for you to listen on your way to the track. Inside ChampCar is on the Racing Wire Podcast Network, found on Apple, Spotify, Google, and most popular podcasting apps.
And we are back on Inside ChampCar on the Racing Wire Podcast Network. Bill Strong here. I'm Brian Bielanski. What a great chat with Will Nonnamaker. What a good guy.
Yeah, Will is good. He was a little bit more laid back. Usually he's out of the car, adrenaline is still there, and he is at 900 RPM or 9,000 RPM, and a little more laid back today.
Well, it's also late.
Yeah, that's true.
After a long day at work, I'm sure. So
yeah, and you know, it was a tough weekend. I'm still trying to recover from the weekend.
yeah, but you're old.
Yeah, true. That is true.
All right, so someone's going to make comments. Would you stop picking on Bill? He's going to get a complex.
No, that's way beyond that. I get enough of that from my own boss.
June 17th through the 19th, you guys are doing the duels.
Yep.
You've got Autobahn.
Yep, we got 29 cars set up for that one.
Okay.
All the way from Blue Shells will be there, Dirty 30s, Gorilla Stickers coming, Maximum Effort. My Elon's bringing a couple of cars. Premium Dudes, they win everything. So they're going to be there. TR Motorsports, that's the Tire Rack guys. They're going to be there with their 318 IS. Two Brothers Racing their Mercedes, and Winkler Motorsports and Williams Racing Group. So there's a lot of big names going to be at that race. And then we head out to Willow to the big Willow.
Yeah.
Not just the little Willow, the big Willow.
That's right.
We got 9 cars signed up with a few more coming, supposedly. We got Drive Skills, Federhound, Hall & Oates. I love that one.
Yeah, I know.
Hall & Oates.
Are they man-eaters?
I don't know. Don't know. I want to see, do they have the mustaches? That's what I want to know.
That would be cool.
Rotoplukers out there with their RX-7. They've won that race before. Tangerine Dreams, Team Honda Research, those Honda engineers, Honda young
HPD
Honda engineers, and Zoom Kaboom. That guy actually puts LSs into 911s.
I was going to say, I don't know that I want my race team to have the word kaboom in it.
So Zoom Kaboom, good team. Then we head down
like a
I know. And then I head out right after that race. I'll shake your hand and we're gone. back out to Carolinas for the Carolina Grand Prix at CMP. Currently we have everybody and their brother coming to that one. 48 cars signed up.
Cool.
All the big guns from the East. So it's going to be a shootout and a half. Going to be a good race there.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to know before we head out?
No.
Well, then let's get the heck out of here. But that's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. It'd also be great if you share it on your social media channels. You can comment on the ChampCar Facebook page, only if it's a good one. If it's a bad one, it's Bill Strong's page. Put it on that one. We have new episodes every week. For Bill Strong, I am Brian Bielanski. This is Inside ChampCar on the Racing Wire Podcast Network.